Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at
Wing
Commander,
the 1999 film. But we'll also be touching on other aspects
There's a whole
of the franchise.
I know nothing about really. You have some of the books.
Yeah.
We just watched the movie. We've been told this was a really awful movie. It's not really awful, is it? It's got some bad stuff in it, certainly. It's not great.
Oh, of course, it's not great. It's watchable, but
Yeah.
I've seen worse science fiction.
Yeah, no, it had some interesting characters.
It's about as good as Episode 1 of Star Wars.
It's kind of hard to compare. Star Wars has a weird type of badness in Episode 1. There's no Jar Jar in this movie. Though there is Maniac a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so for those who aren't familiar with Wing Commander, welcome to the club. See, back in the 90s, 80s, there was this brief craze with what was called full motion video games. It was basically this idea that you could record people doing things and then take those motions of videos as videos and put them into video games and have video games made that way.
So instead of animating a character, you'd be playing little video clips.
They still animate some stuff,
Okay.
Yeah, that was basically it. Wing Commander was one of the few successful ones to do this. Others include, well,
there's a lot of terrible CDI type of games that I just know from osmosis.
Yeah.
Never really
Wing Commander
played.
was kind of awesome, though. See, the story of Wing Commander is as follows. Humanity expands outward into space, forms the Terran Confederation, blah, blah, blah. We travel out, we find aliens. We make first contact with a race known as the Varni. I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, I've only read the books. So, the Varni were fleeing from this mighty alien empire known as the Kilrathi. Essentially
the bad guys of
bipedal,
the universe.
bipedal cats who were gigantic. Imagine if lions hated people and had guns. Which, yeah. And so humanity started to fight them because, the Kilrathi have this god named Sivar, or Sivar. Again, I've read the books. I have not seen this stuff. I mean, I probably could look this stuff up and watch some Let's Plays, but
I mean, between the games, the books, the animated series, and I've personally have just seen the movie with you just now. There's a lot I don't know.
Yeah,
like
there's
the
a lot
Varni were never mentioned in this movie we just watched. So
yeah. So anyway, the Varni appeared. They had their asses kicked by the Kilrathi. The Kilrathi want to sacrifice everyone in the universe, or rule them, or enslave them.
They're evil.
Yeah, they're basically evil. The Kilrathi are kind of different than a lot of science fiction bad guys who just basically copy off of, we're the Klingons, but with some different patterns to our forehead ridges. Meaning we're honorable warriors and we're honorable. Well, Kilrathi are actually honorable while keeping it sort of realistic. There are honorable Kilrathi who consider themselves, I wouldn't do this, but they don't go on and on about honor. And they do consider, and since they evolved from ambush predators, they do consider sticking a knife in someone's back an honorable way to kill someone. And they are willing to throw away their honor without it being like this major cultural...
So they don't take the concept too far in the stories, what you're saying.
Right. I mean, they are kind of fanatical, and they are
They do want to kill everyone in the
warrior
world,
race,
so
but yeah. It's kind of expanded upon that the reason why they want to kill everyone and they're constantly trying to conquer the Terran Confederation and everyone else is because, they know they're violent. If they stopped fighting people, they might turn that violence inwards and destroy themselves.
That's an interesting motivation. I never thought of that for a evil race.
Yeah. So the war's been going on for around 30 years. Then the Wing Commander games happen, and you fly around as a fighter pilot, where in space, the fighter is king. Sure, there's carriers and destroyers and other ships, but your fighters are carrying torpedoes, which are capable of destroying enemy capital ships in one hit.
Wow.
Certain types.
Okay.
It's not like, here comes their mightiest destroyer, just kill it in one hit, but generally that's how things work.
Yeah, we didn't quite see that in the movie.
The movie was kind of different. The way people get around in this universe is through jump points, positions of space-time on the edge of a solar system where you go through and...
you try to teleport to another predetermined jump point, essentially.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a thing. Let's see, what else? Oh yes, and Wing Commander 3 ends with you flying a special mission to the planet Kilra, where you drop a super bomb onto a fault line on Kilra, and the planet shakes itself apart and explodes.
Wow. And then one of the greatest scientists of Kilra sends his baby away on a spaceship, and it lands on a distant planet. It lands on Kansas. And then we have Super Kilrathi, who is hopefully a good guy. I don't know.
But there is a Wing Commander 4, and I know bupkis about it. Absolutely bupkis.
Okay.
I think there might be bug aliens from another dimension invading.
Wow.
But I know nothing for certain. And I know it is out, and I know that you probably should go look it up. Like I said, I don't know anything about this.
That's fine. Neither does the audience.
Yeah,
unless someone writes in with the comments like, I play Wing Commander 4 every day. And be like, oh, thank you. Please make a video for us.
Yeah, because I don't know this stuff. I only got into this stuff like in the last year, and I still don't have any of the games. Because I have a life. And I have
life.
stuff to do. But, okay. And I'm skimming over a ton of details, like the peace treaty that nearly killed the Confederation, or the Phyrekians and their struggle against the Kilrathi, or the Hari, or the Mantu, or the Behemoth, the Terran dreadnought, bigger than almost any other ship on record, capable of obliterating a planet Death Star style.
Wow. It's a wonder that we were in such a bad place in this war. But then again, the Behemoth, or none of that other stuff, showed up during the movie.
Yeah, okay. The Behemoth was like only appeared in Wing Commander 3. And the movie was trying to simplify a whole universe. Okay, but the movie. Remember how I said that in the games they had actual videos with real people playing the roles? Okay, one of the main characters is Todd Maniac Marshall, who, in the games, was portrayed by Thomas F. Wilson, who is best known as Biff from Back to the Future.
Oh my gosh, he did something other than Back to the Future?
Yeah, okay.
It's amazing.
In this movie, he was played by Matthew Lillard, who is best known for playing Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Wow.
Oh my. But it gets worse, my friends. The other main character, both in Wing Commander and in this movie, is Christopher Blair. He's your player character in Wing Commander 3 and Wing Commander 4. And he was portrayed by this little-known actor. You might not know him. His name is Mark Hamill.
Who by that time was very well known. Oh no, by the time the games came out, had Star Wars already come out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. This wasn't like very super old school arcades then. So
no.
Yeah, he was well known by that time.
Yeah, so you had a game where you got to kill space cats who were trying to kill the Earth as Luke Skywalker, and this wasn't the best game of all time. Why? But so naturally, since Mark Hamill was willing to do the live action segments in the games, he was sure to have absolutely no chance he wouldn't join up with this movie to portray the character he did in the games, right? Right?
Nah.
No, because he was replaced by Freddie Prinze Jr., who is most known as... Wait, holy shit, he was James Vega?
Wait, who's James Vega?
From Mass Effect 3 in Paragon Lost. But
wow, okay.
And in the game. Holy crap, I did not realize that he was James Vega.
Oh, thank you, IMDb.
But he was also known as Fred from the Scooby-Doo movie, although I hold this less against him now since James Vega is kind of cool.
Okay.
I mean, granted, he's kind of an idiot, and he's got more muscles than most tanks, made of smaller, meaner tanks. I really like James Vega, but he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah,
he's... Wow. I did not realize he played James Vega. Okay.
Well, anyway, people who are hoping to see Mark Hamill in the movie were sorely disappointed.
Yeah, so, you could have had the best science fiction actor of all time.
Harrison Ford's another one.
Ooh, Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, oh my goodness, yeah.
Okay, that would have been kind of insane having him.
God. Everyone's referring to him as this young cadet or whatever.
And he's clearly, older than the ship. Okay. Although he probably could have given a speech and the Kilrathi would have just turned around.
Yeah, no, he's so good at that.
Oh, he is. Oh, we love Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
But, okay, I did not realize the James Fayette connection.
So our story begins with the Kilrathi blowing up some Earth ships.
Blowing up
the Pegasus in particular.
A Pegasus, they say the Pegasus is like a kind of a Pearl Harbor type station. Maybe?
Oh, it's a station? I thought it was a capital ship.
I don't know. It was kind of unclear.
Well, they blew it up. Well, no, they boarded it, actually, before they blew it up.
They boarded it.
And they grabbed the nav computer, which looks totally like a car battery that's just sitting there in a pedestal hooked up to 2 wires to some random computery stuff. It does not look impressive.
It's really not.
And everyone wears stupid hats.
They wear the stupidest hats I've seen.
I mean, I've seen worse, but, these are just,
Look, I've seen stupider hats, but these seem to go as little as possible to go mile for mile. In terms of stupidity, these were the dumbest hats I've ever seen.
Ew.
I've seen stupider hats that were more elaborate, yes, but those had to work for the stupidity.
I see. So with a small amount of material and a small amount of thought, lots of stupid.
It's like seeing some guy trip and that sets off a chain reaction that knocks over a building.
Yes. I think they had that in Superman 3.
You could kind of. You could easily say, I could be working with a budget and a team of demolition experts that wouldn't cause as much damage as that guy. It's like that. But we'll move on. So the Kilrathi come in and they steal the car battery. I mean Navcom AI. And so
they try to blow it up ahead of time. It's like, oh, the thing's not working. It's like, oh, I'll shoot it through this super bulletproof glass we have. I mean, at least he's trying, but maybe everyone in the room should shoot that thing.
Hey, is there a door that leads in there? I mean, and if so, is there anyone in the room with a key? That way you could go over to the door, open it up, and then shoot the Navcom AI.
No, even from the very beginning, we're like, okay, we're in the middle of a spaceship here, and there's 2 guys at these computer consoles, and the first guy who gets up, first off, is not bearing himself like a military person. There's a certain way you walk in the military, in practically any military. And then secondly, as he leaves his station, there's a beep, 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 someone's coming to attack. And apparently that one guy was our sole line of defense.
Against friggin' anything.
If that guy goes for a coffee break, we are screwed, you guys.
Guess what he did?
Yeah.
He went for a coffee break. So the base is caught completely off guard, and let me tell you, given that it's an alien armada bent on the total destruction and or enslavement of humanity, them destroying this military base looks really, really unimpressive.
I mean, it's a little better when you realize they were intending to board it. Not at this point, but still, yeah, you're looking at it those are really small bombs you're dropping, you guys.
You were thinking they would be dropping antimatter torpedoes.
I mean, they had a lot of ships, but there's still not a whole lot of damage.
Like just attacking with machine guns, dudes.
Or firecrackers.
Yeah, I mean, I know what they were going for, and I know that it would suit their interest better if they didn't do that, but...
You could have made it look more interesting in a visual sense, yeah.
So they call... The base commander contacts Admiral Tolwyn, whose name they spell wrong.
Later in the movie,
They spell his name wrong. This movie was written by the same guy who wrote the Wing Commander games, and they spelled his name wrong.
Yep.
It's not like Admiral Tolwyn was a central or integral part of the games. It was only one of the main characters.
Yep.
But I'm not pissed or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, Admiral Tolwyn goes, yes, they have the Navcom AI. With it, they'll be able to reach Earth within 40 hours. How long will it take us to get to Earth? 42 hours. So I want you to remember that.
Yes.
I want you to remember this. It will take them 42 hours after the Kilrathi get there to get to Earth.
And
remember this, it will hurt later.
And there's another point to be made to bring up later, which is, so this Navcom has, coordinates and stuff you need to navigate back and forth to get places, yeah?
Yeah, don't they...
You would presume there'd be more than one of those in the entire Earth fleet. Now, I understand the Kilrathi only need one, but the Earth people should also have the same coordinates on their ships, which should make this entire plot pointless, but we'll get to that later.
And furthermore, Halo has this. They've been fighting against the Covenant for 20 years, and one of the first things they did once they realized that Covenant ships were coming to kill them all was initiate something called the Cole Protocol. It basically states, if you think that you are being chased by the Covenant, you are to jump to slipspace on random vectors so they can't find our ships or colonies. Because that was the only way that Halo was the UNSC was capable of defeating the Covenant.
Or at least hiding from them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, hiding, defeating. Yeah. Basically, the whole war, they were getting their asses handed to them.
Yep. Until the player character showed up.
Yeah. But anyways, and if you couldn't do that, then one of the things you had to do was destroy any and all materials that could lead the Covenant to find Earth's colonies or ships.
Which, granted, we did see a guy attempt to do that, as the button didn't work.
Yeah. But still...
Should have had 2 buttons, just in case.
Or at least a way to get in there so you could shoot it.
Yeah.
Given that that losing this thing almost costs the Earth the entire war. In fact, the Kilrathi making it to Earth was part of that false peace treaty that I mentioned earlier, and nearly knocked the Earth out of the war entirely because they bombed Earth with radioactive nukes.
Wow.
Well, salted nukes that would spread radiation over a wider area.
Okay.
Which is, I understand radioactive nukes is kind of a
whatever.
Oxymoron, you know what I'm trying to say.
Again, big fat nukes is what we're saying.
Okay, so we shift over to this transport vessel piloted by...
that guy.
Taggart.
I've heard that name before.
Has a weird accent I can't place.
It feels a little Russian to me, but yeah, I don't know.
What, Russian, but with some France mixed in? I don't know.
That's a hard mix to make, but yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, and he's piloting the biggest douchebag in the fleet, and shit.
Well, so we should say so Tolwyn needs to warn Earth that people are coming, and he can't get there for 42 hours. And apparently there are no long-range communiques to Earth somehow. So he decides, let's warn this one random ship, the Diligent. And he's...
Hey, wait a second.
What?
He can't warn Earth. Well, actually, no, wait. He could warn Earth. He does warn Earth.
When does he warn Earth?
Well, they say that later in the movie that Earth's been warned and then the defenses are coming online. But the problem is that they need the fleets to get there.
Oh, right. Okay. No.
Okay, so I was going to go like...
He did warn Earth, but he needs also to tell the Tiger Claw, which is another carrier ship, to get in gear and go basically spy on the Kilrathi, actually, to go tell Earth about that. Because he wanted him to go to that Quasar. Okay, small note. The word Quasar has been redefined for the purposes of this movie.
Okay, a Quasar is a galaxy with a hyperactive center that shoots out a jet of energy. Well, not energy specifically, but like X-rays and other particles. It's also a galaxy that is very, 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 very... I can't even put into terms how far away quasars are.
Every galaxy is far away if it's not the Milky Way, but these ones are especially far.
Yeah, because light, of the way light moves, scientists currently think that when we see quasars, we're seeing into the very distant past to when the universe was extraordinarily young. These are things that have, to our knowledge, only existed close to the dawn of time. And I say close in the most abstract sense because we can't really...
The timey-wimey type of weirdness, yeah.
Like, the first couple billion or billion years after the Big Bang.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken light almost 10 or 11 billion years to get here, to us. These are things that are...
But it turns out there's one of them just down the street.
Yeah, what the hell?
It turns out they're just common as anything else. The latest quasar that we've been charting or something.
Yeah, it's...
So apparently quasar is really more like a jump point, but you can jump without quasars. But there are quasars, and you can jump there too. And the Kilrathi are heading towards this quote-unquote quasar from where they will jump, because apparently we just know that is the way the only way to do it, apparently. And so the Tiger Claw will go and surveil them and I guess send messages back to Earth to tell them how badly they're about to get kick-stomped.
Okay, yeah. So Taggart sends this data to...
Well, no, so Tolwyn sends this data. He can't get it to the Tiger Claw directly for some reason. So I don't know. We can warn Earth, but not the Tiger Claw. The ranges on these things are kind of hard for me to figure out.
Yeah, it's not really clear, and it doesn't help that the only computer screens we see showing stellar cartography were apparently the same one that Luke Skywalker uses as a targeting computer.
Oh yeah,
because it's all lines.
Guys,
this was 1999 that this film came out. Star Trek: The Next Generation had already been doing awesome holograms since the late 80s.
Yeah.
Heck, Star Wars Return of the Jedi had awesome holograms to show the Death Star being destroyed that were better and more detailed than this shit that they pulled.
Somebody would say that was the aesthetic they were going for, whatever. Anyway, so for some reason he has to go through Taggart's ship, and then for some reason, instead of just telling Taggart directly, the captain of the ship, hey, here's this encrypted communique, please bring it over to the Tiger Claw, he tells this Blair, who's with Taggart, just being transported because he's a backup replacement pilot guy, along with Maniac, his best buddy, and also replacement pilot guy.
And Doofus.
So yeah, he puts it in the hands of some cadet, which totally makes sense at first because, it makes a little sense at first because he's a military guy and Taggart isn't. Later it's revealed Taggart is a military guy and totally outranks everyone else in the movie, or nearly so.
Except for
Tolwyn. He's a Commodore, and he doesn't reveal this for the longest time because I don't know.
Well, he's
an intelligence officer.
Officer of Naval Intelligence, so he's an Oni
still,
spook.
You could totally give your officer of Naval Intelligence the disc, and then he could get on board the Tiger Claw and be like, hello, I'm an officer of Naval Intelligence, instead of having Blair do it.
And then having to fight against literally every single other commander in the movie going, you're a civilian, we shouldn't listen to you.
Yeah.
And you could just say, actually, I'm a Commodore, you're going to do what I say or I'm going to court-martial your ass.
Yeah.
And send you to the farthest reaches of the galaxy where you will be smashing big rocks and turning them into little rocks.
The spice mines of Kessel while we're at it.
Oh, yeah, that too. So, yeah. And then we're introduced, furthermore, to Maniac, and I've mentioned this before, but he is the...
he has better moments later in the film, it turns out. But
he
can be quite dumb. He looks dumb. His expressions are dumb. His teeth are sort of hanging out somehow, the way he positions his mouth. And his acting is...
awful. It's just not... And, okay, so the first task we see him assigned in the movie is fly this ship towards the beacon.
Beacon 187 or something. Not 18, whatever.
You want to know what he does? He nearly smashes the ship into a black hole.
So it turns out there's a black hole inside the solar system, and nobody noticed this.
And apparently its gravity is such that every square inch has about 1,000 times the sun's gravity.
Something like that. Which I guess if it has less than a square inch of space, then that might be feasible, except black holes don't work that way.
At all. And
Theoretically, if you compress matter enough, you can have a black hole of any size. It's just, in real life, it doesn't get compressed unless you had a huge amount of matter to begin with.
And shouldn't this be, like, fucking up the solar system something awful? Like, if it's ricocheting Jupiter off the sun or something? Ripping stellar material out of our star?
Real-life black holes would be powerful enough to freaking screw everything up.
It would kind of... Why are we worrying about the Kilrathi? This thing's going to kill us way faster.
I know. I thought maybe they were in, like, deep space somewhere, but no, this comes up later in the movie within the orbit of Venus, apparently.
Or something.
And also Venus is red now.
Yeah, because that's a thing. This movie takes science and just beats it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Maniac, like, boosted the throttle to get there faster, and they have to, like, run in from the other room. No, Maniac, you're such a maniac. You're about to get killed by this black hole that is totally visible from a long distance away, actually, but apparently Maniac didn't see it.
Also, why is this not clearly marked as stay the fuck away from this thing? This is major navigation hazard, if nothing else.
Also, why were we going in this direction at all? Like, Taggart says it's a shortcut. I don't know how it's a shortcut, really. Go around the black hole.
I think maybe they needed the black hole to make the jump.
No, but they totally talk about jumping through a black hole is terrible, terrible idea, and everyone dies when they do it.
Yeah, so I don't even know what's going on or why this is necessary. And this is not how jump points work in the Wing Commander universe.
No. Anyway, so Blair takes the helm, and
because he
miraculously calculates the jump points, and they get through and they don't die. And freaking Maniac has the dumbest expression as they're going through. He puts his arms above his head like he's on a roller coaster or something. No, freaking grab the chair or something. Brace yourself for the try not to die pose.
Because black holes and Splash Mountain are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then they make it to the Tiger Claw, which looks like a blimp and is a carrier.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get there.
Blair delivers the disc, and people start giving Blair crap for being half pilgrim.
And no, this is stupider than it sounds, actually. Because if he was half pilgrim temporally translocated from, Plymouth Rock, that might have been kind of awesome.
My hat has a belt, bitch.
Oh my god, I'm imagining his flight helmet has a big belt on it. I'm here to establish puritanical values and kick ass, and I'm all out of puritanical values.
It's not even historically accurate, by the way, the belt thing. Someone just made that up.
Yeah, but it looks cool and distinctive, so whatever. Okay, so apparently in this version of the Wing Commander universe, there are these people called pilgrims who...
They were like the first to leave Earth, and for some reason everyone else just stayed on Earth, I guess. Because it was more comfortable there.
And so they went out in space and they did some...
For 5 centuries.
Which, considering that the year is 25 something...
No, 26, I thought it was. Was it 25? 26?
I don't know, and I don't care to look.
So the Pilgrims were hanging around in space, apparently, for hundreds of years.
So they were out here so long that they gained an intrinsic, instinctive knowledge of how to navigate anywhere in the universe, and they thought that made them gods.
And they also lost their humanity along the way.
And in fact,
turned into dicks of some sort.
They can navigate so well that they don't need navigation computers. Except that spaceships have navigation computers, so this is really kind of a stupid ability.
Well, apparently the Navcom is not as brilliant as a Pilgrim brain. The Navcom could not have gotten through the Singularity, so he's like the upgraded Navcom.
Okay. But even so, it's... The ability to navigate is not one that I would consider makes me a god. I would consider that mildly useful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if we're talking like the navigators from Warhammer 40k, where they are literally the only way to keep track of the light of the Astronomicon and the only way to travel from star to star in our galaxy without succumbing to the ravaging nature of the warp, that's something a little more impressive. But in this case, it's just, I can push buttons really fast, and I know instinctively how to travel.
It is the difference between life and death, apparently. But anyway, so his dad was a human, and his mom was a pilgrim.
Who are also humans.
But, different.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Everyone treats them like crap because the pilgrims apparently decided to secede from humanity and
make war. There was a war.
They gave up everything that made them human. So my first thought was, so they all starved to death because eating is human? They dehydrated because the drinking is human?
Yep.
They suffocated because breathing is human?
That's why there are no more pilgrims. No.
They stupided themselves to death, of course.
No, but so he's half pilgrim, and everyone just keeps saying, you're a pilgrim, you're half breed, we hate you,
also, blah, blah, blah. So he wears this pilgrim cross around his neck, which doesn't really look like a cross.
Oh my gosh, that thing was not a Chekhov's gun. I'm so impressed.
So it turns out that pilgrim crosses are also knives.
Yeah, the knife pops out of the cross and you can totally kill people with it.
And that's never brought up again, naturally.
That's surprising.
So, yeah, and it shows Maniac and Marshall.
Yeah. Oh, Marshall? What?
Wait. Christopher Blair, sorry.
Christopher Blair.
Maniac and Blair are going around in the Tiger Claws...
Hangar? Mess hall,
where they're hanging out with the other guys. And here's where Maniac actually surprised me, because he actually manages to integrate himself with the crew rather well.
Yeah, I was surprised. He comes off like an ass for 10 seconds, but then he's like their friends.
And then he manages to segue that from getting an ass kicking into being everyone's friend by going... I'm the best pilot in the Confederation. Who wants to challenge me? And then one of the other pilots goes up, is that so? Maniac then goes, now there's two ways we can handle this. One is that you kick my ass, and the other, and then he pulls out a bottle of booze.
And I was like, you can kick my ass with this bottle of booze. No. But no, they just start drinking. And you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, wow, that's actually a little more complex than I gave this movie credit for.
Yeah.
Kind of figured that this would lead to a bar fight,
Yeah.
and then everyone would be friends magically at the end of the bar fight.
I mean, there is nearly a fight later, but on different terms. So apparently, part of their culture is after one of the fighters gets killed, no one ever talks. The pilots gets killed. No one ever talks about them again. The phrase is they never existed. So, not knowing this, freaking main guy Blair brings it up, and people get pissed off. There's this guy who gets in his face about it, and then like Maniac gets behind that guy to be like, "Hey, back off."
I swear to God,
it starts looking like gay porn. They're really kind of close to each other, and they're all handsome, and you're like,
and he's like, Maniac comes up behind him, and he's whispering in his ear.
Yeah,
and it's like kind of creepy.
There's a moment earlier where they're walking by, and Maniac sort of turns to Blair, and he's like, "There's one thing I really like about this place. One thing I see that I really like, a blonde." And he's looking at Blair, and I'm like, Blair's not blonde. How are you hitting on him when he's the wrong... Oh, there's a blonde girl behind you. Oh,
we also never see the blonde girl again.
Yeah, no, though, there's a surprising number of women in this movie. And they're, like, given real roles and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's kind of progressive.
Okay, granted, some of them are kind of in the background, like... But they're not just, oh my God, I'm the civilian woman who's the only person who's advocating for peace.
Yeah, no, totally not. No, the wing commander
is a woman.
Is a woman. That's the title of the movie.
Devereaux.
I was so surprised at that.
Although she kind of has like an English accent to her, which is weird because Devereaux is from Belgium.
Well, Jean-Luc Picard is from France. So what are you going to do?
Well, that's Space France. So,
Space France,
So fuck you. And plus, everyone knows that the eugenics wars wiped out the government of France, and England had to step in order to take control of the situation. That's why everyone sounds English.
I just figured there was a huge number of English tourists that migrated over there.
Actually, I'm lying. I totally made that up.
I presume you did, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, and they spend time getting to know the crew, and everyone's still giving Blair crap because he's a pilgrim, he might turn on us. To which I thought, hey, I will admit that I don't know how long the war with the Kilrathi has been going on. And I freely admit that Sonic Sun's brought up a good comparison. If he was the son of a Nazi, would you be willing to fly alongside him? And I have to admit that if in that situation, I might not be willing to.
Sorry, people who are descended from Nazis. We don't mean to judge you, but it's instinctive.
Well, Nazis are kind of, they're fucking Nazis.
I know. There's a critical point to be made about being the descendant being versus the actual Nazi. But
yeah.
I see. The point is, though, it's understandable in a story sense that people could be prejudiced against folks that had fought a war.
But here's my thing here. Currently, you have about 20 hours, less than a day, before the Kilrathi come and they turn Earth into an irradiated husk. And the space tigers are known to eat humans. So, if they don't just kill you or keep you as slaves. So maybe you want to focus that hatred on the cats, the inhuman monsters that want to kill, enslave, and depending on their tastes, rape you. I mean, we don't really see rapists among the Kilrathi, but still, you know.
They're evil is the point, yes.
They're evil, but...
Gang up on the evil guy, why don't we? Yeah.
Let's go with the people who are an actual fucking threat instead of these guys.
This guy, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they go and they make a jump to a place, and for some reason they use Matrix bullet time.
This was so weird. They're like they're doing some sort of weird jump that only Taggart can lead them through, and it all freezes for a second. And Rosie, this black woman who becomes Maniac's girlfriend. So Rosie and Maniac are in the mess hall and like weirdly falling over in different directions.
But they planned this, so we're going to fall in such a way that we're going to fall and stop time?
I don't think they were trying to stop time. That's an interesting theory, though. In any case, from the viewer's perspective, time stops, and it's like when Trinity kicks those two guys, and it like spins a little, the camera, and you're like, that was so cool in The Matrix and so lame here. Here we are falling over backwards. And you're like, really?
That you wasted like that money shot on there?
Yeah, no, dude, make it an action shot of some kind, or
and after no, even earlier in the film, the Deliverance? Divergent?
Forget-
Taggart's ship.
I had it.
Taggart's ship comes and it lands. And
Diligent.
then they had the worst subtitles.
Oh God, they did.
Which is weird because they had actual cool, what looked like working sci-fi subtitles.
Well,
like
yeah.
the...
Yeah.
And it shows like Alpha Sector, third year of the Imperial Empire.
Right. We're not talking subtitles like someone's talking. We're talking about like text on the screen to inform you what you're looking at. And then suddenly it goes like standard yellow subtitles centered at the bottom of the screen mode. What? Why? You had regular... Did the graphics guy quit?
What is even the hell, man?
How hard is it to make good-looking text? It's not like
It was
a
like
3D
comics.
model or anything.
It was like Comic Sans.
Yeah.
By the way, the next poster should probably not have Comic Sans.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
It's been my tradition, but we can change it.
Yeah, well, we should probably change it since we're making fun of Comic Sans in this one.
All
it
right,
would
fine.
seem kind of hypocritical for.
All right. I'll pick a different font.
Okay, so they have that, and it continues through the rest of the movie. They don't have any cool subtitles.
Oh, I think the graphics guy quit. That's the only explanation I can give you. A lot of the CGI looks like crap. A lot of this looks worse than what Star Wars looked like back in '78. You know, it's just like, that looks weird. That looks...
Oh, no, interestingly, turns out that the reason a lot of people remember this film is not because of it being a terrible video game movie. It's because this movie was where the Star Wars Episode 1 trailer was premiered.
Really?
Yeah.
God, no, that doesn't feel like the same era, but it is.
It is.
It's 99.
Yeah.
No, I look at this and I think it's so much older somehow, but it's not. But it's...
The film quality seems to suggest earlier 90s.
Yeah, really. No, it does. So weird.
But so
weird.
They eventually go to attack some ships, but then Taggart goes, "No, wait! We shouldn't attack those ships," while they're already halfway there in the fighters. We shouldn't attack these ships because they're just...
It's a diversion. They're going to attack the main carrier while we're away.
Basically. And then he has to spend some time justifying, hey, no, I may be a civilian. I am just a civilian, but trust me on this one.
Well, no, he earlier says that. It's while they're in the fighters, he reveals he's a Commodore. Remember?
Oh, yeah. And then he reveals he's a Commodore in mid-flight.
Like, God damn it, man. Don't you tell the commander this before you do shit.
Also, for some reason, the fighters all have the ability to determine, is someone a member of the Office of Naval Intelligence? Because that's a skill that fighter pilots need to have.
Yep, just in case.
Also, the fighters, what were the fighters even fucking called?
Rapiers.
Rapiers are the ugliest starfighters I've ever seen in the entirety of science fiction.
Yeah, the design just looks...
It looks terrible. It looks like
the
someone...
wings are really stubby. The nose is like a Gatling gun, which I guess is...
No, the nose is a Gatling gun.
It is a Gatling gun, yeah.
It looks like it was bolted together at the last minute because they realized, oh shit, we need fighter props. Get me a fighter. It looks like someone tried to take the A-10 Warthog and make it uglier.
It does. So that was never cool when they showed up. I mean, it was eventually there were some cool action scenes with these, but you're still looking at them like the design on that just isn't inspiring.
Look, friggin' Babylon 5. You know I've ranted and raved about how amazing Babylon 5 is.
Yep.
But they had the Star Furies. Those did not look like any sort of fighter I've seen before. They were big X's with engines at the end, and the cockpit just had 2 chin guns. It was like if an X-Wing and a TIE fighter had a baby.
The ultimate weirdness.
Those looked more like actual fighters that were space-worthy than these things.
Yeah.
They looked like if someone tried to make something out of Vietnam War era technology.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, the space combat of the Vietnam War did not make it into the history books. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, partially because they didn't have space combat in Vietnam, meaning the space war era arm of the United States Armed Forces didn't really make it into the history books, aside from doing nothing and wasting a couple $1 trillion of taxpayer money.
Yep.
Okay, so then they go and they blow up the Kilrathi and they lose some people, but it's okay because those are red shirts. And Rosie and Maniac are in the middle of this stupid contest to show.
This is actually really interesting. So they had bonded earlier when they were in space flying around and
they're stupid fighters.
And the stupid fighters, but they're egging each other on to see who's the better fighter. So they both make these really dangerous, unnecessarily dangerous landings onto the ship, proving how awesome they are. They came within an inch of killing themselves, but they didn't.
Their commentary to one another felt clunky, but also different. Like, she was talking about how it's all estrogen, not testosterone, that makes you a better fighter.
Yeah.
And how you didn't need balls because...
And he was like, you need balls, not ovaries. And like, suddenly this conversation seems a little dumber just because you're in it.
No. There was already plenty stupid beforehand. But still, it was different from normal things where it's going, oh yeah, testosterone, you need balls to do that. It felt like it was trying to subvert that, but they felt like they weren't skilled enough to...
They gave it a slight twist, basically.
They gave it a slight twist. It felt like they were trying to do something, but they weren't clever enough to do it.
Anyway, so they both had the dangerous landings, and then they got, called
Nearly
out
killed.
by the wing commander, who's like, what the hell, you idiots? And they were like, well, yeah, but it was awesome, and they basically get off because of that.
Yeah, and because Rosie bribed the wing...
Oh, yeah, and she also bribed the wing commander with some booze.
Yeah, because, when you're in charge of a starship that's capable of launching untold amounts of destruction, that's the thing you want to be, sauced.
Especially when the Earth is going to be destroyed in less than 20 hours.
Yeah, so that's always good. This movie has this weird not sense of time. Like, no one ever feels stressed about the fact that the Kilrathi Warfleet now knows the exact location of Earth, how to get there, and is on its way to turn it into a radioactive cinder.
I mean, it's sort of a generic sense of this is important, but not like, oh God, my family back home,
Yeah, I mean, they could come from the colonies, but still, this is the capital world. Yeah. 7.9 billion humans live on this planet, and I know that because I actually read one of the on-screen schematics of Earth, because, we need to know what Earth looks like.
Just in case, yeah.
You forgot what planet you live on.
But so they have this other event while they're fighting, and they're trying to get back to the ship, and the bad guy fighters are trying to ram them in addition to shooting at them. So Rosie shoots one and dodges the corpse of the ship, as it were,
the debris,
and Maniac tries to do a similar thing, but he's gonna get really close to it first and not shoot it to the last second. So he successfully shoots it, and the debris goes around him and freaking hits Rosie, you idiot!
Oh my
God. This is actually really interesting that normally the hotshot never deals any consequences for taking crazy risks all the time. It hits Rosie, but she's okay, but she can't eject, and they have this tense scene of trying to land back on the carrier ship, and it fails. It honest to God fails, and she just dies.
She slams into the ground, and they can't even get out to check because they check to see if she's alive or not because they're on a time crunch now, which, again, it's weird. Sometimes it's like they're super worried about the time crunch.
Yeah.
And others, it's like, whatever.
And the other aspect was that she's outside the, air shield thing, and apparently nobody has spacesuits on this spaceship.
Yeah,
so nobody can run out.
So instead, they just push it off the hangar
with
bay.
A remote control, bulldozer, essentially.
Because they need to get the other fighters in so they can, get ready back to the fleet. So she could have been alive and just... But she's dead.
Yeah,
and
maybe we've killed her at that point. Yeah.
And so Devereaux walks up to Marshall. She doesn't hit him. I will give her this. A lot of movies would have had her walk up to him and then just break his nose.
Yeah.
No. She says, you disobeyed orders in a time of war. This is a crime known as treason. I am within my rights to shoot you. Give me your gun. Blair says, no, don't pull out the gun. She turns to someone else. Give me your gun. He gives her the gun. She's holding a gun against Maniac's head, and Maniac looks like, I deserve this.
Yeah, he suddenly had characterization. You thought he was going to be this annoying idiot the whole time, and then it was like, no, wait, he's got this sort of zen little bit about him.
He has lost someone that he cared about, and oh my God, this is actual character. It's a really good scene in a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And eventually she decides not to shoot him, but then says, yeah, if you ever do this shit again, I will shoot you.
Mm-hmm. And they follow up this later with another bit of she comes to recruit him to fly again. He wasn't expecting that, but Blair convinced her we need all the fighters we can get, and so Rosie's death played into the rest of the movie. What do you know?
Yeah. Then they had this, and then between that scenes, there was this weird scene where Maniac got hurt trying to rescue Blair because explosive decompression was happening for a really long time, and it nearly killed them all because a rift opened up in the hull, a tear opened up in the hull, and he had to save him. And there's a lot of air in this ship, apparently.
Ridiculous amounts of hurricane force winds.
Also, did you notice that the hangar ceiling was really high, but all the corridors in the ship are just barely above their heads?
I can justify that a little. If you were landing and you were a little high, you'd hope to not die. Whereas if you're walking around, you might bump your head but survive that.
I don't know. It just seemed unusually high to me.
The bedrooms were unusually large, too.
Exactly.
Especially with all those corridors.
My college dorm was smaller than that.
I mean, mine was a little bigger, but it was, in real life, this is like a submarine, essentially, when you're walking through these corridors, or some of it's like a submarine. Clearly they're conserving space, except in the bedrooms, when the guy's got like a poster up and everything. Anyway, I've seen this, like, you don't get a room half the time in a submarine, or all the time. You get a bunk with another guy directly above you and like 6 people within arm's reach practically. We do not have space for anything, man.
Yeah, okay. So eventually they realized that the damage they took when they were attacking the Kilrathi and the Kilrathi was attacking them back means that they don't have any fuel left. So they have to go attack a Kilrathi comm ship that they had earlier seen and spotted. So well done, movie, for setting that plot point up.
I guess, yeah. It was a little odd that their fuel cells are compatible.
Yeah, it was odd that their fuel cells were compatible.
And it was odd that there was this whole thing where they're hiding on this Astro and they send out like a decoy thing. And you got this graph, this radar thing of all the Kilrathi ships headed this way. Oh, but they're following the decoy. Yay! Except all of us and watching can see one ship is still headed for them. So why is everyone cheering? I don't know. Taggart has to point this out. Did you guys notice that one obvious ship right there headed toward us? Oh, no, never mind. Oh, we're screwed.
And then for some reason, because one of the characters was played by a guy who was in Das Boot, like the underwater submarine movie.
As opposed to the overwater submarine movies. Those are really interesting. Sorry.
As I was saying, then he said Sonic Suns can go right the fuck to hell.
It was so obvious. All right.
Okay, but yeah. So he's like, wait, shh. The Kilrathi are out there. They're going to start bombing the craters. Is this because there was a scene where the submarine had to avoid depth charges in Das Boot? I think it was. But also, and this is a slightly more galling thing, how come in science fiction, whenever there's a stealth scene, everyone has to be really fucking quiet? Because there's this little thing where air does not go through vacuum. No, wait, no. Sound does not travel through vacuum.
Yeah.
Imagine, if you will, what could actually be happening inside of there. You could be having a Slayer concert. Dueling with Limousine and Killswitch Engage.
Ooh, man.
In the mess hall, all having a heavy metal rock off while actually engaging each other in chainsaw duels. And shoving a dog in a garbage disposal.
Oh, God.
You would still hear the same thing from outside. Nothing. Why are you doing this?
That would be so cool if that were doing that.
Except for the last bit.
No, except for the last bit. No, I meant the limousine concert.
Yeah. But so that is the thing. So eventually they go over and they fight the Kilrathi, and the Kilrathi look awful.
Their ships are filled with green smoke, I think, to disguise this to the audience. You can still see them. They still look awful.
Yeah, the Kilrathi ship design is amazingly awful. Inside, the ceilings are really high, but I don't know, everyone still feels hunched over. Everything feels too small. There's smoke friggin' everywhere. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine that the Kilrathi's environmental systems have been damaged somehow.
Who knows? And then the Kilrathi themselves.
Oh, they look like... Go watch videos of what the Kilrathi look like on YouTube. And they have these shaggy manes. In fact, that's an important feature of their physiology and their ranking. The original Kilrathi clan had red fur.
That was the clan that unified Kilra and was the first emperors. The emperor's line has to have red fur. This is an important plot point in their sociology. They looked like shaved cats that had been given steroids.
They had no fur aside from their goatees.
They had goatees, and their eyes glowed in the dark, and not like a cat's. It was like someone had stuck light bulbs behind the cat's eyes, and for some reason, I swear I saw them moving asynchronously to one another, meaning it looked like they just digitally inserted eyeballs onto these things.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we get on their ship, we fight the ugly guys, we take over the ship really easily, actually. Like,
yeah, so
nobody died on the human side.
Why are the Kilrathi? I mean, the Kilrathi are supposed to be space tigers, and or lions.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be these awesome, intimidating engines of destruction. So why are we just able to walk through these guys? Oh, by the way, they all die in the same way. They fall over onto their backwards.
Yeah, it looks totally lame. I imagine that's all the actors could do inside the suits.
Ugh. I can only imagine the reason they didn't use the actual Wing Commander suits was because of the higher movie resolution.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why in Star Trek Generations, the Enterprise D's scenes are all filmed really dark to hide imperfections that would be clearly visible on a film.
Huh. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's also why in Star Trek First Contact, the Defiant, when it shows up, is beat to hell and is clearly like everything is
good.
Everything is fucked on this ship. The lights were out. It's because on a TV show, you have less high quality. In a movie, some of the flaws in the set could be much more easily visible.
Okay. Well,
so that's the only explanation I can give for why the Kilrathi looks so awful.
Yeah, no. But we find the nav computer, the car battery.
Yeah. Again, so
sitting there.
Why is it on this ship? Why didn't you guys hightail that thing back to Kilra and then send out messages to all the fleets saying this is the safe path to Earth?
But I guess it doesn't much matter if you only need... I don't know. Do you need the computer on board to navigate like real time, or you just need to get data from the computer and copy it over?
Well, the movie, based on the fact that it's still physically on this ship, I guess you need it for real time.
Except that we could just get the data off the display and know not just this ship, but all the other ships are going to do the exact same thing. And the other ships didn't have car batteries, but they were fine.
Yeah, they were able to tell exactly where it was going to come out, where they were jumping to. So they didn't need this thing here, because they already knew the coordinates, and the coordinates had to have been transmitted to them beforehand, so they don't need this car battery. So why the hell is it on this ship?
And why did we need it? I mean, I suppose they could have stolen it and then just kept it there because whatever, trash days until Tuesday. But I guess we looked at some readouts and we were like, aha, now we know exactly where they're going to warp in at Earth space.
Okay, so there's two options that are going on that could happen here. One, the Kilrathi studied them, found out the path to Earth, and need this thing to jump properly into Earth space. Okay, but that's undermined by the fact that we now know we also know exactly where they will jump in, which wouldn't be a requirement if
they didn't need that computer, which they don't have anymore because we totally just took their ship away.
Yeah, so the Navcom AI was worthless and we didn't need to take it. Or the Navcom AI was a repository for all the stellar cartography data, in which case the Kilrathi would have immediately stolen all the data, sent it back to Kilra, and thus it's totally worthless to us now because they still have the data.
More to the point, my earlier bit, whatever data is on this Navcom should be available to the rest of Earth's fleet before it was stolen, right? It's not like they had secret data they just came up with last Tuesday or something.
So, unless the Kilrathi don't have Navcom AIs of their own, in which case, how do they get around? Are they all pilgrims?
Or, because the whole deal, if you warp into Earth space from, this quasar, it's apparently you have to warp in a particular way and you show up at a particular point.
That's how
Right.
it works in the Wing Commander series, but like I said before, they don't follow the Wing Commander
Right.
rules.
But it seems like you could just tell Earth, hey, they're going to be at this particular point, not because we recaptured the Navcom, but because that's how it always works. We've been navigating to and from Earth for a while now. We know where the door is, you know.
Hell, that's one of the strategies they use in the Wing Commander games. They drop minefields at the jump points so that any Kilrathi ship coming through gets obliterated by the minefield.
So anyway, we need to go to Earth now and tell Earth the coordinates that somehow they could not know otherwise.
that we totally should know because shut up.
So Blair is going to navigate this using his pilgrim powers. I'm just thinking of a pilgrim superhero now with a cape and everything.
Defending truth, justice, and puritanical values. So, yeah, that happens. And, but first they need to shoot down a Kilrathi missile that's going to destroy the Tiger's Claw. And Devereaux stays behind, and she ejects from her ship. And it says, you have 1 hour of air remaining. Remember this, it will hurt.
So Blair makes it successfully to Earth space and tells everyone, the Kilrathi are coming in at these particular coordinates. And then some Kilrathi show up behind him, because apparently they can just do that. Like, follow him.
Yeah.
Which I guess Angel was planning to do that anyway. So a capital ship is following him now.
And the Tolwyn says, we're not going to engage that ship. But, sir, it could do untold damage to Earth. Yes. As opposed to the entire fleet of Kilrathi ships that will be coming in where they just came from in about 20 minutes, which we should totally be there for.
Right. So he gets the coordinates.
Which is actually pretty good, because I thought it was like him being a cold bastard.
Yeah, no.
Which it kind of is, but...
It's tactical, you know,
But it
understandable.
makes sense.
Yeah, the horrors of war. But okay, so Tolwyn's now has the coordinates that Blair provided, so he sets up the whole ship to go stare at those coordinates, and apparently you can only warp ships one at a time, so we're going to blow up the Kilrathi one at a time when they show up. Which is great, except for one question. How did Tolwyn get here?
Remember how we said that...
premise of the movie.
Remember how we said that plot point earlier would really hurt? Here we
The
are!
whole premise of the movie is Tolwyn cannot get back with the fleet for at least 42 hours.
And the Kilrathi fleet will be there in 40 hours.
Now, maybe because we were in combat with them, we delayed them by 2 or 3 hours, but
Which,
that was
okay,
not clear to me.
They did say that they'll delay them when they were attacking the comm ship.
But if they were delaying them that much, someone should have pointed it out. We need another 10 minutes of delay in order to get Tolwyn's deadline or something. That should have been really important. It should have been
Otherwise,
like...
why the hell is Tolwyn here? I mean, if there were other ships as part of Earth's defense fleet,
Yeah, but this
I
is...
could understand that.
This
But
is Tolwyn himself.
I was saying,
Yeah.
he's right there. Well, how did you get here? Can we use that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I realize that the jump points are basically bullshit in this movie, but,
Yeah, it was weird. So then Blair's on his own because there are absolutely no ships coming to help him.
So he's being pursued by a destroyer or some super heavy ship, I don't know. And the Kilrathi are chasing him, and they're like, follow him, we're tracking him to the fleet, because they can detect this beacon. The beacon that earlier warned them, stay away from this thing because it's a fucking black hole.
So Blair pulls off a Ronsky feint, to use the Harry
Potter term. Yes, because Harry Potter is the thing we want to talk about in science fiction.
Yeah, why not?
So he tricks them. The Kilrathi commander goes, as they're approaching the black hole that is very large and obvious.
It's not black at all. It's like a big old light bulb in space.
Hey, that's not the Confederation fleet. No. Oh. Although it does make me think that maybe the Confederation, like the main ships of the fleet, look like black holes, and this is a common mistake for the Kilrathi.
That'd be amazing.
I want to see the Confederation flying around with black hole ships. Is that so wrong?
So yeah, they basically Blair blows up this whole destroyer just by himself.
And despite the fact that he has no fuel and he basically barely pulls up.
Yeah, how does that work? Gravity keeps working. No, there was an earlier bit where they were like, I think it was that earlier jump with the weird matrixy thing. Mm-hmm. Gravity will soon approach 100%. And I was like, of what? What the hell is 100% gravity?
Look, I have this jar of 100% tide. Is it like milk? 2% fat? Sir, the longer we spend in the gravity well, the more our arteries will be clogged, sir.
No.
Sir, the gravity is only half and half. Darn it, man, I need cream.
Yeah.
I asked for decaf gravity, damn you. Decaf!
Science in this movie makes no sense.
Okay, so Blair goes. Somehow he gets rescued by like another guy who we've never seen before.
No, Tolwyn sends a couple fighters to go rescue Blair.
Yeah,
while they're in the middle of fight.
Because he has no idea what Blair is up to, and he knows that a destroyer is chasing him. Send a couple fighters. That should take care of the destroyer.
It works out somehow, and then we're totally opposing the Kilrathi, so yay us.
Because the Kilrathi are coming one at a time into a choke point.
Yeah.
This does not go well for the Kilrathi. So then they say the Tiger's Claw just got here. Here's where another earlier statement hurts. Earlier, Devereaux's life pod has 1 hour of air left. They state this openly. Taggart says, if in 2 hours we don't hear from
the Deliberator, he's going to go out in his one ship.
If I don't come back
Diligent.
in 2 hours, you are to go to Earth and help defend it with Admiral Tolwyn. Admiral Tolwyn states that the Tiger's Claw is already in Earth's space, meaning 2 hours have passed and Taggart has not returned yet. Meaning that he didn't find Devereaux until at least after 2 hours had passed. For 1 hour, she was sucking vacuum. Or at least carbon dioxide. Because generally they don't say, okay, we only have an hour left, and then we got some wiggle room time where I'm breathing air that's slowly getting more carbon monoxide-y. No, they say we have an hour left of air, and then we die.
Yeah, now I pointed out it could have been an hour before, like, the tank runs out, but then you'd still have air within the cockpit, and you can live off of that for several hours if you breathe very slowly. That's like a Houdini trick.
Which I did admit is something that if you were being a fighter pilot in space, is something that you would want to learn.
Yeah, so it might have been nice for them to establish that in the movie and not us having to make it up on the fly.
Yeah, so they find Devereaux after 2 hours of being in space.
Yeah.
And bring her back to the Tiger's Claw. And she wakes up and Blair and her kiss. Because, when you're in a coma from lack of oxygen, that's the first thing you want to do.
Yeah. No.
I personally blame that on the fact that there was no air in her brain. I'm going to kiss this man I've known for about 2 days now.
Yeah, I never know.
Then again, Maniac shagged Rosie after 6 hours.
That was a weird scene, actually. It was like, I'm not saying we need to make this into a porno, but they were in bed in a sexual way with all their clothes on, and I found that confusing.
And they said,
especially when they said, "Oh, let's do it again." Like, what do you mean again? Your clothes are still on. I'm so confused.
The only Chinese checkers match in bed, but they're just so competitive that it just underwear wrestling.
I have no idea.
Watching a limousine concert.
Let's do that again.
Yeah. Look, I watched it 5 times. Can we do something else? No. What do you see? I am actually strong bad. Don't ask me why I made out with you.
So Deborah is saved, and that's actually the last shot of the movie, is her being put in the stretcher, and we
then
zoom
wheeled
out.
off.
And we're like, you're not going to see the fleet all victorious or something? No?
We're not going to see Tolwyn, standing victorious on the bridge of the Concordiate with debris of Kilrathi vessels exploding around him. The Emperor of Kilra swearing revenge.
Yeah, they totally ran out of money to make this movie.
Although it does make me want to see the Emperor of Kilra. I'm guessing, he's just a puff of smoke. The way of the reason they fill the ships up with smoke is their way of honoring him. He is the smoke monster from Lost.
That would be so weird. And then all of the trees had epilepsy. Look that up on TV tropes. Anyway.
Okay, so
but I mean that Rosie died. That was a thing.
Rosie dying was one of the good scenes.
had character development. The hotshot actually freaking shouldn't have done that, you moron.
And they nearly shoot him. That's kind of amazing.
Shoot him.
And they're entirely right to do that because he disobeyed orders and got like one of the best pilots on the ship killed in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
That's justified, man.
Yeah.
It's so many. I'm so used to watching shows that are mildly military, where the main heroes will go and do a stupid stunt and they'll say, "Oh, you should be court-martialed for this, but because you got results, blah blah blah, you're okay."
Yeah.
No, they shot down a lot of Kilrathi, and his transgressions are not being forgiven.
Yeah. I guess they could have also said, "When this war is over, we will court-martial you."
Okay, yeah, that's actually a pretty good point.
Which would have been nice. And then, like, after the credits, he's just, like, in a cell. You're like, oh, yeah, no, reality. Crap. Well, that's what happens. But still, the fact that they did as much as they did with it was quite interesting.
The fact that they did anything with him other than hotshot pilot.
And Doofus. I mean, Doofus was the initial setup, and you were like, wow, this is the worst thing ever.
Okay, so the first time we meet him, he nearly kills us by flying into a black hole, and that's not even subtle. It looks like a frickin'...
Yeah, how is he a hotshot pilot later on? Like, he just, I don't know...
Although I would say to Taggart, maybe you should, I don't know, tell them, we're heading for a black hole, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Follow flight plans, idiot.
Yeah. But, yeah, bad graphics and you know, some bad acting here and there. And the guy who commanded the Tiger Claw totally died, and we didn't even realize till half an hour later.
Yeah.
He, like, got some blood on his forehead, and you're like, oh, is he okay? And then, like, half an hour later, you're like, hey, we haven't seen any more of that guy. I guess he died.
Is he dead? Holy shit, he's dead!
Oh. Nobody mourned him at all.
Also, one thing that I like about Wing Commander is that it has no space magic bullshit. Space magic bullshit is something I'm glad Wing Commander doesn't have. I mean, yes, it's okay for seasoning up the universe. Babylon 5 has the telepaths, and they did some really cool stuff with that. Mass Effect has biotics, plus the ending of Mass Effect 3, which was bullshit. Star Wars has the Jedi, but because science fiction is an outgrowth of the fantasy genre, we still feel the urge to put in magical elements. Wing Commander has none of that. But for some reason, the movie decided to add the Pilgrims, which are magically able to tell where anything is in ever.
I guess the implication was they evolved or something.
That's...
After 500 years, which is a pretty short time frame for evolution.
Mobile Suit Gundam tried to posit this as well. Because of the colonists living in space, there are these new types who are better than humans. But it was, to me, that was still stupid bullshit. And even more so because they're like, we will conquer space and we will be the new children of humanity destined to inherit the stars. Shut the fuck up. Bang!
Everyone has to be a dick. Can't just be like, hey, we like ourselves. Yay for that. The end.
Yeah, I'm kind of special and awesome. What of it? It's this weird thing where if in science fiction, if people are genetically enhanced or superiorly evolved, they can't ever be nice about it. It's always... Well, I got an extra finger on my hand. I can type a little better now. I must be a god. Star Trek had the eugenics wars. Mobile Suit Gundam does this over and over again with new types or the coordinators or some other artificial division bullshit. The telepaths believe this in Babylon 5. There's another one, and I can't remember.
Yeah,
there's a group of biotics who believe themselves to be superior to other humans in Mass Effect. Normally, these are great. These don't diminish from the greatness of the franchises. Star Trek Enterprise diminished from the greatness of the franchise, but I'm getting away from myself. But why can't we have people who are honestly superior and are nice about it?
Yeah, it might have happened in one or two stories, but
no, it's always, I'm superior, thusly I must
take over.
Yeah, it makes for an easy conflict for drive the plot.
I get that the Nazis did that, but just because
the Nazis didn't have genetic engineering, though, they just did that because they felt like it. You know, you don't actually need the genetic
and then they
part.
also tried eugenics too.
Yeah,
which,
they did.
Look, I get it. The Nazis were bad.
Yeah,
and a lot of their policies were crap. But
I can't name any of the good policies. Maybe there was one random recycling program they had that I don't know about.
I don't know. I like their engineering programs.
Except that they did get pwned in the end, and
Well, they did, but still, you have to admire the V2 rocket and the fact that it was our first modern steps towards rocketry.
If only it had been aimed at the other side. Anyway.
But anyways, I can't get it why in so many shows it's like we can't ever genetically engineer, and then show these other species out there in science fiction that are like, oh, I'm just casually 8 times stronger than a human, have better sight, smell, hearing, I think faster, and I'll live forever. So I have this injection that'll make you do that. No! I must remain as flawed and imperfect as possible. I don't know, if I got an injection that would cure my shit-ass eyesight, or enabled me to live longer, I'd take it. But no, science fiction seems to be like, no, if you're different, you're a freak, you have to stay normal. Yeah. Fuck you, science fiction.
Well, unless you're a descendant of a pilgrim, and then you get to be the main character in this movie.
Hooray for being born special and not having to do anything to earn your special gifts.
Well, you were talking about getting injections. It's not exactly earning it. It's just getting an injection. All right, whatever. We're going way off topic.
But that's how it was portrayed in the movie. He was born special, thus that he gets to save the day.
Okay, that's true. Okay movie.
It's okay.
It's okay. That's about. I think we pretty much said it all.
Okay, so anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And I guess we're signing off.